Howdy folks, welcome to the first episode of, I'd like to call it Tundra's Garage, but I'm not in the Tundra anymore and I don't have a garage, so it's going to be a Florida sidewalk. Today is the first episode of building my actual truck. So I know what you're thinking now, wait a minute, if you're building your truck, why are we looking at a computer screen? The reason you're looking at a computer screen is because I watch a lot of other people on YouTube and whatnot. They build their vehicles, but they never really go into the process of why they're choosing the parts that they're choosing or how they even came to that conclusion for those parts to begin with. So I'd like to take you guys all the way back to the beginning where we're first designing our truck. So this website's called 3dtuning.com. It's a pretty cool website. They got a lot of stuff other than trucks. They got cars here you can go through. They've got the Cobra, Bentleys, they've got the Chevy Malibu. That'd be kind of interesting. McLarens, they got everything. These are their convertibles. They got, let's see here, home. They have muscle cars as well. Let's see here, we've got the Mustangs, the Dodge Viper GTS, the Ford GT, the GT5, everything is GT, GTX, GTO. I just realized that. How come every muscle car has got to have GT? Except for Chevy. Chevy doesn't have a GT. They're the only ones. But today we're going to be focusing on, obviously, trucks and Jeeps. More specifically, trucks. We're going to be doing a Ford. Let's see here. My Ford is, I've already purchased the truck, so we can't go changing that now. 2015 through 2017, before the facelift. That has got to be the ugliest looking truck I have ever seen. My God. So one of the cool things I like about 3D Tuning is pretty much every single product that 3D Tuning has is an actual real product. And once you've gone through and sort of designed your whole truck or Jeep or car or whatever you've got, you can actually get a list. You can get the list of all the custom parts that you've used. Now they do have some parts that aren't real, but they're labeled, so which is nice. My truck is currently white, so we will be changing the color. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave. I love the ruby red. I absolutely love it. I love everything about it. I've seen a couple trucks. I've seen a couple of these F150s in ruby red. It is absolutely gorgeous. But the other part of me is like, in 50 years time, if I have a truck that's still white, the original paint color, I can say, hey, I've got a 50-year-old truck with original paint, but it's not really going to be an original truck because we're doing the lift kit, which requires frame modification. We're putting, fender flares on it. We're putting a different hood on it, new grille. So, see here, trims and kits. These are all sort of pre-made. There was somebody in El Paso that had one of these Tonka trucks. It was kind of cool. It was bright, like neon yellow. So this is going to be our lift kit. Here's the thing, I want to put airbags on the truck. So I was pretty much settled on the 4-inch rough country lift kit because at the time the airbags only went up to a 4-inch lift kit. However, apparently a couple months ago they made a 6-inch bracket for the 6-inch lift kit. So I can now put airbags with a 6-inch lift kit. Now the reason I want such a high lift kit is I travel all over the United States. I've driven across this continent 4 times. I've been up to Alaska, San Diego, New York City. I'm here in South Florida right now. I've gone everywhere. And I have actually bottomed that truck out twice. Both times were in Alaska. So we're going to go with, let's see, this is the rough country. I believe this is the 6-inch, right? Yeah. 6-inch lift kit. So we're going with the 6-inch lift kit right there. It looks so silly with the stock tires. All right. Oh, they do have it now. They didn't have it the last time I was on here. The fuel sledge rim. There we go. So I really wanted the Fuel Rebel 6 series, but right when I went to order them, apparently they don't make them anymore. And they just stopped making them. So this is the closest you can find, like I said, I've been able to find, to the Rebel 6. For tires, I know for a fact they don't have these on here. Noise is very important to me. I need this thing to be quiet. And I mean silent quiet. Until we get to the exhaust, obviously. But I want to hear the exhaust, not the road. So I'm actually going with the BF Goodrich KO2s, which are not on here. So I'm just going to find one that looks relatively like it. What do these look like? Oh, there we go. That's probably the closest looking right there. So the Toyo Open Country. So the KO2s, I've been told, are completely silent. Doesn't matter what size you get, they're just, so they're silent. So now our front bumper, I'm not actually going with any of these because I'm going with the full on bumper guard. Oh, is that in here? Bumper guards in here? Oh yeah, it looks like it. Okay. So I want it to protect the headlights. I want it to protect the grille, but I don't want it to block the grille because I want to put a light bar in the grille. That looks like one of the Jeep ones. Let's see here. Fab Fours. I don't like the diamond pattern. It protects everything. I still have access to the tow hooks. And it doesn't block the grill, so I can still have a light bar in the grill. I like this one. Still has a pretty good attack angle. It's not too bad. Again, I know we're limited by the rear, but it's still a pretty decent attack angle. It protects the headlights. It's not the diamond pattern. Once you actually see it, I think I like that other one best. The Fab Fours. This one. It's a bit simpler too. It's a bit simpler. It has the hooks already built in. I think I like this one. That's the one we're going for. If there's a specific grill I want, we always go with the Dude Grill. The Dude Grill is fun. There it is. Is that it? It's got a 15-inch light bar in the center, and it's got two 3-inch cubes. So what I want to do with this is I want the 2 cubes, I want those to be essentially ditch lights. I want those to be aimed, not really a floodlight, but more of like a between a flood and a spot, because those are supposed to be aimed right down into the ditches. And the idea with that is when you're going on farm roads and whatnot, deer like to hang out in the low spots for whatever reason until a vehicle comes by. As soon as a vehicle comes by, they jump out of the ditch and right in front of you. So the idea with these is that if they're aimed correctly, they'll be shooting right into the ditches and you can see into the ditch. That's the idea. I don't know how well it'll work in practice once we actually do it. That's the idea. As far as the center light bar goes, I want to go with an RGB light bar, an RGB flashing light bar, where I can change it between blues and reds, I can change it between reds and whites, blues and whites, ambers and whites, ambers and blues, depending on which state the law is, whatnot. I've put 160,000 miles on my brand new truck, so definitely come across things where some serious flashing lights would have been nice. especially when it's the middle of the night and you're on a freaking desert highway. The lower grill, we don't have to worry about that. Bull bar, grill guard, we've already got that taken care of. The hood. There's a Ram, yeah, this one right here, the Ram air hood. This thing is absolutely awesome because it is real, and it shoots the air right into, I don't remember if it hooks up to directly to your turbos or if it actually goes through the air box. I think it does go through the air box. But either way, it's a functioning scoop. I've seen them a couple of times. There's a couple around here in Florida that I've seen, and I absolutely love them. Probably not a bad idea to put a hood deflector on it. That looks ugly, and it looks like, oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. Putting a hood deflector might actually, well, I don't know. Would putting a hood deflector on it, would that mess with the air intake, the hood scoops? Oh, well, that just got rid of my hood. So I'm not going to do a hood deflector until I learn some more about whether or not it's going to affect the actual scoops. Side mirrors. I do a lot of towing. I have to have the tow mirror. Let's see here. That's the 4. Here we go. Now this price is a lie. And I will show you why. The tow mirrors for my truck are like $1,300. The roof light bar. This is another one that's important. I want to go with the Rigid Industries Adapt. It is a Adapt. Yeah. It is a $3,000 light bar, and for good freaking reason. It has, I don't know if it has a GPS or if it hooks up to your truck's computer. I'm not sure how that works. I think it just does GPS because it's easier. Pretty much what it does is at slow speeds, it's like a floodlight. And then as you speed up, you start moving faster. The beam like narrows until, you know, when you're going 80 miles an hour through Texas, you've got like a spotlight shooting way down your highway. Rigid light bars are amazing, but they're outrageously expensive. So that'll be like probably one of the last things I put on it. Let's see, I hate these things. I hate the round lights. You know, on Jeeps they work. But I mean on this thing, I mean look at that. That just looks silly in my opinion. In my opinion, I guess. What is this? So we got fender flares. I think because again, tires in this program stick out a little further than they will in reality. It's smoother, but they don't seem to come out as far. Again, they don't necessarily need to come out as far. I think I'm still going to go with that one though, because it comes out a little bit further. There are some states that are really finicky about your tires sticking out past your fenders at all. In fact, there's some states that get a little upset if you go over a 6-inch lift on your vehicle. So I think it would probably be best to have some slight oversize on your fenders. There might be some hacking we're going to need to do here where the fender flare meets the new bumper. I don't know. Just looks like it might. So we're going to go with that. So that one was the Air Design Dakar. I think that's how you say it. So we're going to go Air Design Dakar, make it match. There we go. We got some big old fender flares on that. I like that look. That's a good look. Step bars. We're going to keep the factory running board because I like it. It functions the way it's supposed to. I think it looks good. It's a little higher, but I mean it works for me. I can put a little stool in the truck for anybody that needs it. Fuel door. But I don't know. I'm gonna leave it off for now. See if we can find a matching Fab 4 Elite for the rear bumper. I honestly don't know if I want to do anything with the rear bumper because the rear bumper functions fine. Okay, they put LEDs in it. Oh, now I see the LEDs. Okay, all right. Because you see, this one's more subtle, but it doesn't necessarily have the light in the back. Which, you know, when you get stuck on a forest road and you have to back up all the way, would be kind of nice having some super bright lights that can shine out the back. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it up, and I'm gonna get some feedback on that. And it's got a decent angle of attack. Exhaust. This doesn't have the exhaust I want. So the exhaust sound I want, I've got the 3.5 ecoboost, which so far I absolutely love that engine. Say what you will about V6 and twin turbo and any of that kind of stuff. I absolutely love that engine. Especially going through the Rockies up in Canada, air gets pretty thin up there. And those turbos, they kept my engine very happy. So the exhaust I want to go with for the V6 is the Borla Attack. It's the only exhaust I've heard that makes that V6 actually sound good. Now, worst case scenario, I can throw a resonator on there. I can throw a quarter wave resonator on there if I get too bad at drone. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. I think this is it. I think this is our truck. The sound system that I want to go with. We've got the Alpine Type Rs. These are the 10-inch dual subs. I have not been able to find a subwoofer box for the rear seat. I figured I'd be able to find one like that. It doesn't seem like anybody's made one. Or somebody did make one, like a one-off thing, and they sold it. So I might end up having to make my own subwoofer box. We'll see. Here's the actual... There's the headache rack that I want. And the reason I want this one specifically is because you can see that panel right there can come out. So I've got the power window, so I can actually pull that off, open up the power window if I need to, for whatever reason. Okay, so apparently my camera decided to cut out and not record like the entire last half of that, which is fine because pretty much all we did was we went through and all the parts that we had actually put on the vehicle on the program, and a couple of things we found like the sound system, the headache rack and whatnot. We found those on a website called carid, which I cannot recommend you buy anything on carid because I've never bought anything on carid, and I've read some reviews that aren't the greatest, so I don't know. I just use it to find parts that I know for a fact are compatible with the vehicle. That's really the best they're used for. Also pricing things and budgeting things. But most of everything we're either getting directly from the manufacturer, such as like the rough country lift kit and the tires. Well, the tires I'm getting from Tire Rack, but you know they get them from the manufacturer. And a couple other things like the hood, stuff like that we're getting directly from the manufacturer. A lot of it, believe it or not, we're getting from Amazon, because Amazon carries a lot of these parts. And then a few things like the mirror. The mirror is from a different company that'll like custom put together a mirror, I guess. I don't know. It's but either way, so we went and we sourced all the parts that we're going to do, and then we pretty much budgeted everything, and that's what I'm going to put on screen for you now. So we budgeted. So the suspension, that basically includes the lift kit, the airbags, the air compressor. I'm including that with the airbags, so that's included. We've got the tires. That's obviously, you know, the rims, tires, the sensors, stuff like that. Alignment. The exhaust is obviously, that's just the exhaust. Cosmetic, that's things like the fender flares, the hood, the wheel well liner. We've got the armor. That's things like the front bumper and I didn't include the rear bumper because I'm still not 100% sure on that, but that's also the rocker panel protector, floor mats, mud flaps, stuff like that. Audio, we did do a whole sound system for it. Unfortunately, that was part of what was lost. The sound system is an Alpine R sound system. I couldn't find a subwoofer box anywhere, so I'm probably going to have to build my own. Mirrors and lights, we're going with all rigid light bars except for the front light bar. The front 12 or 15, I don't remember which one it was. It's either a 12 or a 15, and it's going to be RGB, so obviously it's not going to be rigid. So the reason we budgeted this truck this way and separated everything into categories is I'm pretty much going to do one thing at a time. So each group I feel like goes with each other. So obviously starting with the suspension, that's going to be the first thing we order, is going to be the suspension and the tires. After that, it's the exhaust. Then we'll go ahead and do all the cosmetic stuff. Then we'll do the armor. Then we'll do the sound system. Very last thing we're going to do is mirrors and lights. Now, if that number for the sound system looks like it's a little high, that's because I'm also including a 12.5-inch touchscreen. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode, where we're going to be putting the lift kit on it. The lift kit will be its own episode, and then we'll probably do the airbags and air compressor and whatnot in its own episode. And then, yeah, looking forward to this. I'm excited.